Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen, MikeColleen.com, and this is going to be, I believe, the fourth video on who is God to me and who's Jesus and all that good stuff. So, the overall message that I want to leave first, though, is God is love, and God loves you. And this video is going to get a little rough, not too rough, but it really talks about the bad things that happen in church. I'm not going to go not overboard, but I'm going to get right to it. So, all right. So there's two kinds of Christians. There are the hierarchical Christians, which are the logical. The left brain is about rules, structure, and organization, as I've been teaching in my course, Cracked Female Code. So, it's funny, but when men take that course, it alters their whole life. It alters their whole world. So people that are hierarchy, they are very much about rules, structure. They are literally in the box thinking people. Do you think Jesus or God is stuck in the box? Nope. The right brain is the open brain, open to spirit, right? Much more powerful brain. And yes, that's what my courses are about, to help men and women to open up to that side of the brain, to you actually reconnect. It's like spirit comes inside and connects inside. So once you open up to spirit, you have a connection, a strong connection. I call that connecting to yourself, because yourself really is the spirit within you. Like Jesus says, look within. So does Buddha, by the way. He says, look within. So, again, this is not a religious video series. It's not about changing your religion or joining my religion. That's not what this is about. It's funny because Jesus spoke on the mountainside. He spoke on the, oh God, I can't think, by the ocean, by the water. He didn't speak in churches. Okay, I'm going to give you a little history of Christianity. So a lot of Christians are kind of shocked when they hear this. Number one, Jesus wasn't a Christian. Jesus was Jewish. Okay, so Jesus, I believe, was a spiritual being, was not a Christian or Jewish. And one thing, when I studied the history of it, Christianity didn't begin, I think it was either 100 years or 200 years after Jesus' death. Why? Because back then, all the people that were alive during Jesus' time had died. Therefore, the word of Jesus couldn't be passed on as easily. They didn't have computers, they didn't have video cameras, they didn't have printing presses, so they couldn't make mass books, they didn't have typewriters. So making a book was very arduous. It took a lot of time. So the way, I don't want to say this as absolute pure fact, but I have read this quite a few times in different teachings, is the teachings of Christ, okay, because back then the churches hated Christ. In fact, they're the ones who killed Christ, okay? And so they brought his teachings back into the building, into the church building. And they did it to bring the masses back. Is okay, one of the reasons why they're pissed off with Jesus is because he brought the people out of the church and the tithing money went away. All those people didn't go to the churches at the time and give tithing, so it really pissed a lot of people off, and thus they killed Christ. Okay, so that is part of the narcissistic deception. Okay, I'm going to lead into that down, I think, in this video or the next video. So the hierarchy, the better than, okay, so you have what I call better than Christians. I'm better than you, and I must beat you down. It's a real sneaky, manipulative, it's a very it's narcissistic, okay? And when you see how Christians, they play this hierarchy game, and this is our leader, and we're at the next level, and this group is better than these people. Oh my God, it's horrible. I just don't have nothing to do with it. And a lot of you are watching me for just that same reason. You believe in God. You very much believe in spirit and soul. You absolutely know. And you probably have a strong connection, and that's why you're following me. Okay, or watching my videos. I don't like to, even when I said follow, I don't want to use that word. You don't want to be subjugated, and you don't want to be belittled and knocked down and treated like you're less than. That is such a left brain. You remember the greater than, less than sign? People actually think in those terms. Until you open up to your right brain, a spiritual brain, that's how most people are looking at things. So all right. So The funny thing about it was I was always going to church a lot, and I mean insanely a lot, until I was around 31, I think, is when I finally, maybe it was 32, 33, but around the time. I went through my awakening at 28, and I had a huge re-understanding of what the teachings of Jesus were in the Bible and the Spirit, and it was amazing. It was a confirmation of everything I felt since I was a little child. So it was Christians who beat me down. It was Christians who were the ones that were hurting me, doing unbelievably horrendous things. Little things are like, okay, I remember this one girl. She came to our church. She was new to Christianity, and one day she bumped into me in public, and she just was like, "You're going to hell," and how did she say that? "You're a devil worshiper," and she didn't say devil worshiper, but she was pulling the whole like, you got to surrender to Jesus, and you got to, in order to go to heaven, implying that I wasn't already, right? So that's part of the game. They act like they care, but you're going to hell, and you've got to surrender, and it's like they're not talking about surrendering to God. They're talking about surrendering to them. So there's a lot of people in churches who surrender to the church, who surrender to the other people in the church, right? One thing that is repeatedly spoken is that it is a personal relationship with God. It's not between me and you. It's not between you and that person and the group of people in a building with 4 walls. It's between you and God. This is a very personal experience. So one thing a lot of people that have been hurt by narcissists have done, and a lot of these people have gone through this in the last 2 or 3 years or 5 years, but a lot more now, is you begin, it's almost like you begin to isolate yourself. But really what it is, the Spirit isolates you. All of a sudden people don't call you, your friends aren't calling you. Part of it is you do want to be left alone. But really it's God. God is isolating you because it's to help you to reconnect with the Spirit. I use the word self. Whenever I use the word self, I really mean Spirit within you, inside you. That's God, okay? It's to get you to become more and more aware that there is something inside, and you have to silence your mind and listen and feel. It's all listening. A lot of times when I say listen, I really mean feel. Because a lot of times you'll get feelings or gut feelings like, I need to do this, I need to call that person, I need to go to the store. And so that's one of the reasons why a lot of you have been isolated. And some of us, like I'm coming out of it. I've been coming out of it for a while now, and you have a tremendous intuition and a tremendous faith, knowing the next step is coming without going, okay, well now what? You know beyond a shadow of a doubt the learnings are coming. You're protected, and your intuition, if it says to get out, get out. Okay? So another thing I want to say that I kind of intimated in okay, I said that part. Okay, okay, so one thing that shocked me is, and I notice it now, is it's very hard to find really true, I'm going to blow this candle to burn my eyes a little bit. One thing is, it's very hard to find true Christians. Now when I say true Christian, I don't mean religious people who are disciplined. I mean people that have truly opened up to God, people that truly have this Spirit. And you don't have to be a Christian, by the way, to have that. Absolutely not. You can be non-Christian, you can be whatever. It's very hard to find, and I'm going to say it again, Christians that have that strong, true connection, okay, to God. It's about spirit, it's about soul. It's not about, here's the rules of our church and you must obey and submit. Oh God, that's all slave master mentality. So both pastors of 2 different churches that I went to for many years, I asked them both a certain question, and they had said, it was after my awakening, and they said, Michael, and I said this in a couple of videos ago, but you're like, only 1% of the church is actually spiritually awake. And I was like, what? And again, they had said, if you have a church with 3% of people that are spiritually awake, you have a very, very strong church. And I was like, wow, that just blew my mind. Most people are not connected to the Spirit. They really aren't. It's very few people. Okay? So, I think, okay, yeah. So this video really is about this. If you have been beaten down by Christians, if you have been humiliated, if you've been subjugated, if you've been forced to submit verbally or intimidated, or just, man, I don't want to tell the stories of some of the things Christians have done to me when I was very young. It sounds like I'm attacking Christianity, but I'm really not. Most Christians are not Christians. They don't. Here, I'm not going to go into the stories because there's no use for it right now. If you have been turned away from God, this is my point in this video. Don't. If you leave the church, I got no problem with that. But turn to God, whatever that means to you. If you're an American Indian, if you're an Indian from India, if you're a Buddhist from Southeast Asia, if you've never been to church or any kind of religion or temple in your life, pray to God, turn to God. Do not turn away from God. And here's what's really going on. In my past videos over the months, you've heard me talk a lot about narcissist abuse. The church is infested by narcissists. Okay? That's why very few people are believers. It's very hard to believe when you were raised with these narcissistic beliefs and you're ashamed and you're going to hell and all this bullshit. Where do you learn that? You learn that in church. They shame you, they guilt you, they hurt you, they do all these fucked up things. All right? Again, I'm not talking bad against. I know it sounds like it, but it's really not. It's just, all right. The fact of the matter is, if you read the Bible, it talks about the seed of Seth and the seed of Cain. Cain killed Abel. The seed of Cain has intermixed with the seed of Seth, which is humans. Okay? And it's hidden within. It's in narcissists, and these are narcissists. They're in the church, they're in the corporations, they're in the military, they're in the government, they're everywhere. All right? To deny this is to just stay asleep. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up so your life can get better. So, the good news is, for me, it drove me closer to God. I prayed even harder, read the Bible even more. I searched even further than I would ever imagined. So, I kind of lost my point, but I already said it. It's like, okay, if you have been beaten down, pushed away from the church, turned against God, that was by the this is what I'm saying. That was by the narcissists in the church. That's what I'm saying. It was not by true believers. True believers don't view you or themselves or life in the sense of, you're beneath me, I must dominate you, you must feel guilty and shameful. That is from the devil. That's from the demon inside those people that said that to you. Do not listen to that. Okay? Okay, sorry, that is, I'm so glad I recovered there, because it sounded like I'm all anti-Christian. That's not really what I'm saying. I absolutely believe in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John beyond a shadow. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the book of Revelations, the book of Genesis, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely, my core heart and soul is into that, okay? So, I think I've made my video clear, and I'm trying to find out, it's funny, I haven't been wrapping these videos up very well. Normally I've got a real crisp clear, but I'm in such a mellow mood right now. All I'm saying is this: if you've been pushed away from God, that was done by narcissists. It was not done by true believers. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? And yes, the other part I'm saying, and I may have overdone it earlier in the video, but narcissists absolutely are in the churches, and they are in leadership positions, teaching positions, sometimes ministers, pastors are narcissists. I'm not going to say all, because it's not all, but there is an abundance of them in the church. And so pray. Right now we are going through a transition in the spirit world, on the planet. Pray your hearts out. Pray to God. But no, good things are here. God bless you guys.